Morena koutou tamariki mā. It's lovely to see you all. I hope you all got the slideshow the other day for doing some ANZAC art and making some things to help us remember all those amazing men and women who worked so hard for our country all those years ago. Some of you may even have great-great-grandparents who were one of those war workers. The activity I've decided to just show you how I did at home is this one here. So we're going to make a lantern that we could put out on our letterbox in time for dawn on ANZAC Day, which is this Saturday coming. I'm going to use an old shampoo bottle, but you could, if you wanted to, you could use an old milk bottle. They're really handy things, and most of them, the stickers peel off, so they come up quite nice looking. So we won't need the pump off the top of the shampoo bottle, so I might save that for another project another day. As you can see, I've already painted one of my poppies on the front, and I did use paint. I used normal old school paint, but it's in a little tube, and you may have some at home or you may not, and that's okay. You could use paper to glue on there and do a collage, or you could use a Vivid and a felt pen. I've got some Vivids and pens and things, but for this one here I've decided to use paint because I've got a little bit of old paint here. First of all, what I did though is I drew my poppy. Can you see that? See the poppy? So I've got the centre of my poppy there, and then I've got the petals, and I'm going to paint that up. I've got an old paintbrush here, so I'm just going to get some red paint, and I found it was really effective to do the painting kind of dabbing it rather than painting. It will give you lines on your poppy. Do those dabbing sort of lines. Go right out to the edge. Now remember, one of the rules that Ms.Jones likes when we do art, whether we're using pencils or crayons or pastels, is Mrs. Jones likes you to make the white go away. So paint, 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 dab, 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 all the way out to the edges. I am going to leave the centre of the poppy not painted. Why do you think I might do that? Leave it not painted. Have a wee think. What's in the centre of a poppy? Yeah, you're probably right. It's black, usually. The centre of a poppy is black. And if you get really, really into the detail, the centre of a poppy has often got a little bit of yellow as well. And of course, this is only the red poppies we're talking about. There's all different coloured poppies. But today we are painting a red ANZAC poppy, because I'm creating a piece of art, something special to remember the people that fought in the wars all those years ago. Now, can you see how effective that is? Can you see that it's kind of bumpy? It's not just flat painting. I really like that. And now what I'm going to do is, like the other side, I'm going to leave that to dry so that I can come back to it and add more detail. I'm going to probably even go over and do another coat of red paint just to really make sure I have made the white go away. That's right, cover it all up. Good, 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 good. So we've got now poppies on both sides of the bottle. It'll look really good. Okay, so we've let our poppy dry enough, and you can see now that after that had dried, what I did is I went around and added detail to the edges to help define the poppy so that you can actually see that it is a poppy. Now, to do this for my project, I've used black paint, just a tube of black paint, but you could use black Vivid or black marker pen. Use whatever you can. If you need to use some black paper and cut it out and glue it on, that's fine too. I've got a little paintbrush here, and that's what I've used to do my detail. So let's turn it around and you do this poppy together. I started by painting the middle of the poppy. So, and remember with the doing the petals again, we did that dabbing. I think that was really effective because it gives it lots of extra detail and depth. It's not just a flat picture of a poppy. So I filled in my centre of my poppy, make the white go away right to the edges where you've done your outline. Now I can't quite see my outline on here, which is a little bit of a pain. So I'm going to just actually try and go back and do that outline. It comes in about here. And then, yeah, so I've got a wee outline to work to, and then I'll do the other bits. So I'm just going to do really, really finely this outline of my poppy petals. I'm going to just go all the way around the outside edge. It is really important that you actually try and leave the red paint to dry first before you get started on the next bit, because otherwise you end up with mixing your paints and it gets quite tricky and a bit messy. That's okay. So we're going to go all the way around doing the different, all the petals of your poppy, all the way around the edges, just nice and fine, little tiny dabs with the tip of your brush. Just the very tippy tip. I have used as little a brush as you've got. If you've got a little tiny brush with a pointy end, that's really handy too. But I've saved my special brushes for later for another project that we might do together. So just go all the way around doing the outline of your poppy petals. All the way around the edge. Doesn't matter if it's not super duper neat, because that's part of what makes it actually look interesting. So there we go, we've gone all the way around the edge there. Now I'm just going to go around the edge of my the center of my poppy, just to give a little bit more detail, to bring those the stamen. You can, if you look at a real poppy, there's often a little bit of a stamen. That's the center of the poppy that comes out, and we're just going to bring that out so that it's not just a hard line in the middle of your poppy. I would like to add a little bit more to the outside edge up here of my poppy, just to make sure it is black, just to really make it stand out. That looks awesome. I'm really pleased with how my poppy looks and my lantern. It looks great. So again, now what you need to do is leave that to dry and really let that paint dry off so that you can handle your lantern well. So now that both of your poppies are dry, the next job that we need to do is, I don't want the top of my shampoo bottle on my lantern, and if I used a milk bottle, I wouldn't want the top of my milk bottle on my lantern either. So what I would do is, what I'm planning to do with my lantern is I've drawn a wee line here. That's where I'm going to cut the top of my bottle off, and because I don't really need that bit, and it would make it really tricky to put my twinkle lights in with that little tiny opening at the top. So I'm going to draw the line all the way around my bottle, because this is a guideline for me to cut that off. Okay, so now you've got a line all the way around the top of your lantern that you will cut. Now this is a really important job, and I do want you to make sure you've got an adult nearby to help you, or a big sister or brother. I'm going to use a sharp craft knife to do my cutting. You could use scissors. Scissors are tricky, but scissors on a milk bottle would be fine, but getting started is tricky, and this is an adult's job. So you do need to make sure you get help to do that. So I'm going to cut mine around, and it is this shampoo bottle is quite a thick plastic bottle, and I'm just going to cut all the way around, keeping my fingers and my hands well away from that sharp knife. Okay, so there we go, we've got that cut off. Really tricky, that was a really tricky job, but that's going to be great. And so now I've got my container that I can sit my twinkle lights into. I am going to add one more thing to my lantern before I get it ready to be putting out on the letterbox. I am going to put the year. Now you could put a wee message. Let's have a think. What are some of the messages that we associate with ANZAC Day? One that I know of is lest we forget. That means let's not forget about all those men and women that worked so hard for our country. So you could write, lest we forget, on your lantern. I'm going to put the year, this year. So what year are we in this year? Who can remember? That's right. We're in the year 2020. So I'm actually going to put the year 2020 onto my lantern. So there we've got our year on there. Now the last thing I would need to do is add my twinkle lights on. Okie doke. So I've been out to my shed and I have found my twinkle lights. I've dragged them out of the Christmas decorations actually, and they're just wee battery operated ones. So there's going to be no issues with safety and things like that. Let's give them a test, see if they actually go. Yes, they do. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle lights. Okie doke, let's pop them into our lantern. So let's, we'll pop that in there and we'll poke the lights down in and pop them right in. There we go. And you can see that that lights up your lantern beautifully. You won't get the full effect until you've got it outside in the dark or in your bedroom in the dark. You could have a try overnight before ANZAC Day. But I will put this out on my letterbox the night before ANZAC Day, and I will take a photo of it outside in the dark on my letterbox so you can actually see it lit up and how nice it looks. I hope you've had fun doing this project. I think it's been a really fun thing to do, learning to use paints on different materials and things. And we'll see next week. We might do another project for you to have a go at as well. Have an awesome day.